You are now entering the All right. Volume on the intro there. Nick with TechGuard Security. What's up, brother?
Not much, man. It's a beautiful Friday afternoon.
Welcome.
I'm good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. We were just talking about, how do you pronounce it? Is it Saboro?
I thought it was Sapori.
Sapori, that's right.
I thought.
Definitely don't want to mix that up with Sabaro.
Yeah, it's not. Just to clarify, it's not in the White Oaks.
Yeah. No, the new pizza place over by the office. Yeah, super good.
Yeah, phenomenal.
I can't help anytime I eat pizza now to think of freaking Dave Portnoy's reviews and what he reviews. And I'm like, man, it's got a crispy bottom. I was like, yeah, this is pretty good.
Yeah, we'll have to get him to Springfield.
Yeah, no, that was super good. I was actually going to go to the office for lunch the other day. And then I saw somebody walking out down there. And I was like, oh, I'm going to go try that new pizza place.
Yeah, it's good. It used to be Kiefner's. It was kind of more of like a bakery type place. That was good too, but... Yeah, I think this is definitely my wife and I's new pizza spot. We've been there a few times now. So
man, this shit is delicious. And they got all that pasta and stuff in there you can buy.
Yeah, that's what I've kind of recently made that leap into the craft, pasta and pasta sauce world, if you will, outside of the...
Yeah. Well, I don't know, but, they always say, like, over in, like, Italy or whatever, they eat pasta all day, every day, and they, like, don't feel stuffed and fat and all that shit because of all the like bad stuff's not in it or whatever. So I wonder if what they have there is like that quality stuff that they use over there. That's what I was telling my wife. We need to go get some and try it out.
Yeah, definitely. They had a lot of different varieties, and even the olive oils, a lot of different choices there. So
cool spot. Check that Buy out. Local. Yeah. All right, absolutely. Let's get into this.
Yeah.
All right, Nick. Well, you're TechGuard Security. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yep. So we're TechGuard Security. I'm with TechGuard Security. We're a woman-owned cybersecurity company. We've been around for 24 years. We got our start on the U.S. government side of things, doing proactive and preventative services for various U.S. contracts, different cyber commands within branches of the United States military. Still involved in the government, but mid-2017 or so, we had a strategic partnership strike up with a global insurance company that's really opened the door for TechGuard to get exposed to different companies all across the world of all sizes, really, and kind of expand our reach, truthfully. So since 2017, we've had our commercial side. Like I said, we still have our government side. We're based out of O'Fallon, Illinois. Primarily Scott Air Force Base is right there.
I know O'Fallon's down by Missouri or down by St. Louis, right?
Correct. Yeah, just about 20 minutes east of, a little bit southeast of St. Louis, kind of by Belleville, that area. But our office is, I like, when I do go to the office, because the window in my office, when I look out, there's constantly military planes coming in and out of Scott Air Force Base. So
that's cool.
It's kind of nice. Kind of cool seeing those.
Yeah, that is neat. If you're there, you probably get sick of the noise, though. No, maybe.
Yeah. It does get pretty loud.
No, that's cool though. So let's dumb that down a little bit.
Yep.
For the basic folk.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. No, that's what we
like.
Try to
yeah.
do.
What are like the basic services? You know what I mean? Like, what would somebody like me or another like local business that's small, medium size, like that? What would you be helping them with?
Yeah, absolutely. Good question there, and I think that's something TechGuard's really trying to do as a whole right now, is try to get that message across to
simplified.
To simplify. Cybersecurity is for far too long has been too complex. It demands too many resources, whether that's could look a lot of different ways, and it's also always been too expensive. That's being just completely brutally honest. That's not new to anybody. But so TechGuard, we offer a variety of cybersecurity services. We used to say we were proactive and preventative. Now, actually, this week we've just announced a new partnership with a company called Koch. We're very excited about that. That's going to allow us to offer that defensive side of things. So now, instead of being just proactive and preventative, we're really your one-stop shop. Think of us as a cybersecurity provider, if you will. So we do, whether it's compliance driven, so like pen testing, vulnerability scanning, Basically taking a look at your network, seeing what's out there, seeing what the vulnerabilities are, and then working with you to patch and fix those, basically securing your data. We also offer a managed service of training and phishing platform, so we can, no matter how large your organization is or what data you're working with, you should be in training your employees on how to be on what's going on right now in the real cyber landscape. So how to be, how to spot phishing emails, how to have strong passwords, social media best practices, things like that. We provide a managed service, so it really takes that off of you. We can send out trainings, and then we also included in that is a phishing simulator. So we can send phishing emails that would replicate one that they would get in the real world.
Let's tell people what a phishing email is.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's good.
It's kind of like what it sounds, but you know what I mean?
No, I'm all about educating, with cybersecurity. That's great. So a phishing email is an attempt, is a false email. It contains a bad link, whether that's now, that can look a lot of ways. It used to traditionally, I think a lot of people still think this, and that's kind of what bothers me, is a lot of people still think that the phishing emails are, I'm a Nigerian prince, I've got $30 million, I'm going to die next week.
Those are always great.
I need to transfer this money to you.
If you could send me 10,000, I'll send you 3 million. Trust me.
Yeah. So cyber attacks have, cyber criminals have gotten a lot more advanced than that, of course. So
yeah, man, those emails look real as hell.
Yep. So now they're looking, we can go in and we can spoof. Let's say your company uses Microsoft Teams or uses some internal chat. That's organizations are able to replicate those emails and make it look legit. Or somebody in your position here, if you send an email, let's say you send an email to somebody, one of your video editors out there, and say, hey, I need, something's come up, I can't get there. I need you to go and buy this, whatever $500 gift card, or whatever that may look like.
Yeah,
they're probably going to trust that because it's you're their boss, but they should still be looking to make sure that the email is legit, that the request is valid. Does it make sense? If they have any questions, they should not respond to the email. They should call you or text you in a way that they already have your contact information.
Yeah.
That way.
Yeah, I'd like to think of phishing email as it's a bad guy fishing for a sucker.
Yeah,
Just throwing it out there and trying to reel one in.
Exactly, and there's a lot of layers of phishing when you really dive into it. There's what's called spear phishing, which is more of a targeted approach. So that I'm actually going to do, I'm going to go after the CEO or somebody who's going to have all the credentials, have access to everything, versus just kind of spraying and praying. I'm actually going to hone in and try to go after one person.
Yeah.
There's what's now called vishing, which is voice calling. So you got the virtual ishing, if you will, there.
Dude, I had a call the other day. It was crazy. It was, it popped. So I have a Citibank credit card. I got a call. It said on the caller ID Citibank. And they're like, hey, are you trying to use your card? A foreign accent. Are you trying to use your card? No, I'm not. You know what I mean? It's that whole process like they would normally do. It looked official, sounded official. They're going through the process, and they're like, and then it gets to a point, it's like, okay, can you give me your expiration date on your card? You know what I mean? I'm just like, nope.
Yeah.
And just hung up on them, and then they called me back. And then I hung up on him again. But it was crazy because I Googled the phone number, and it is a Citibank location in the Bronx, like in New York, like right outside of New York City. And I was like, this is so fucking weird, man. So it is it's like a little location in a strip mall. So I'm like, well, they were obviously calling from there. They used unless there was some way they could disguise it as the number, but I was like, either an employee is doing this or something. So then I actually called the fraud line on my credit card, and they're like, yeah, we haven't reached out to you at all. No one's trying to use your thing, nothing. And I'm just like, what the fuck, dude? This was so, like, that was like one of the most, like, you know what I mean? Like, I Googled the number, shows a Citibank location. Like, to me, it seemed like an inside job, but I don't know what the capabilities are out there. If someone could, like, make it look like a phone number, you know?
Yeah. So that would fall under the lines of a man-in-the-middle attack. So essentially, they're just kind of spoofing that information. They're able to replicate.
Do you think that's what they did?
Yeah, that's what they did.
Make it look like it? You don't think it was actually a person?
No. I would be absolutely shocked.
Letting a friend in, you know what I mean?
Yeah, no.
Dude, that was crazy.
Yeah, that's I think happens a lot more, and at least I'm glad to hear you at least had the awareness to not go through with that, because I'm sure they're successful in doing that.
Oh, probably all
you
the
got
time.
to think if they're doing it, they're successful. To some extent, right? They wouldn't be doing it if they weren't. So, that's the vishing side of things. There's starting to be now kind of more. A more recent one now is a smishing. SMS, like that. It is. I'm serious.
They just keep using the same.
It is. Yeah.
Can we mix this up a little bit?
Yeah. The smishing, and that falls under the texting, the scams that you get. You know
What is with those? Because if you reply, doesn't it can't they do something? Like I read that if you reply, there's something they could do after that or something.
So I don't necessarily know what they can do fully if you just reply to it. I know that things can start to get hairy whenever you click on the link.
Right.
And some of the stuff now is,
I swear, because it was happening one time. We were all here, and I thought I looked it up, and I was like, yeah, don't reply to anything, because there was something weird they could do after you reply.
I would definitely suggest not replying.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that at least lets them know that it's a live number, that it's somebody there. But yeah, I mean, some of those, it's kind of even getting to the point where you're in text clubs or text reward things, and it's they come from these random numbers. We had to get a room in our house repainted the other day, and the invoice came from a random number, and so I called the painter, and he was like, "Oh yeah, sorry about that. I should have told you that's who you're coming from." But it's you never. I mean, with that stuff, it's before I go online and pay for it, I want to make sure it's going to the right people. So
for sure.
Just trying to make sure people are aware of that stuff.
Yeah, I never really thought about that either. They somehow knew you were. I mean, if they had access to your email and knew an invoice was going to be getting sent to you.
Yeah.
Something like that.
So and so that's that kind of goes into that deeper dive into that spear phishing there. So they can, once they would get access there, I mean, that's when you can really act like, Andrew Bartlett, the CEO, and start to send out those emails, asking for gift cards.
A bad one with us is ones where they try to make it look like Facebook is emailing them. We see those all the time and actually right now on Facebook, it's a huge problem, the messages that come in. Yeah. That say with Facebook support, your page is going to be deleted or is violated. And reviews, all these, it's craziness. It's been so bad lately.
Yeah, my wife's dental practice, she got a note the other day. She runs their Facebook page or whatever, and it came through and said that they had went against community violation.
Community guideline violation.
And I was like, what did you put? You posted a happy birthday post for for one of the ladies there. There's nothing against.
Don't you dare wish her a happy birthday.
Yeah, so I don't know.
No, it's bad.
But and so that's what I mean. It's gone from that Nigerian prince to now, I mean, they know what they're doing. And unfortunately, when you start looking at social media and stuff, there's a lot of elderly people in there that are getting hit. And a big thing with the voice, the vishing we were talking about, is they'll find the elderly people and call. It's really easy on Facebook to go and look and find information about people's family, not to get creepy or anything, but it really is. People should
for sure. It's
think
easy.
About what they post, and
I hate putting
that's a disclaimer. That's a whole nother.
Yeah.
Don't get me started there. But
I'll get called and I'll mess with them sometimes if I'm not in the middle of something. I'll put it on speaker and go out with everybody, and they're like, "Oh, you've been pre-qualified for $1 million loan." I'm like, really? Fuck yes. And they're like, so how much do you make? And I'm like, you know what I mean? And I'll just make something. I'm like, we do about $2,000 a month in business. Can we get that $1 million? And he's like, well, I don't think that qualifies. I'm like, you just said that I could. I just sit there and fuck with them.
That's awesome.
But it's just, that dude, the calls are also so bad. It's crazy that we can't get a grasp on this shit.
It's just the technology is constantly advancing, and as many people are fighting the good fight, there's there's that many people, if not more, fighting, the bad fight. And I think what it comes down to is
so many spam calls.
What's so international too. I mean, it's not even really people here in the United States necessarily.
Yeah.
But yeah,
sitting in a farm with 10,000 phones.
Oh, I mean, it seriously is. I mean, they legitimately. I mean, it's seriously warehouses just of desks with phones, and it's people just calling and calling. So
crazy.
So,
have you seen any of the? I was watching a special. God, who was the guy? He was one of the early internet scammers, and he had gotten out of jail, and I think he was helping the FBI or helping somebody. But he was in the special. He's talking about all the scams he used to run. And it was super interesting to hear how he did it and what he would do, and it was look that up real quick. Search it. It was on Netflix, I'm pretty sure.
But check that out. I do know a lot of guys. I mean, I'm not by no means am I promoting hacking or anything like that, but that is. I mean, some of those what you see in the movies, where the bad guys get caught and then the government does offer them jobs is
just come help us.
I mean, I think to some extent that's obviously you've got to be really good at what you're doing. But,
well, that's these big companies will host those hackathons.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, and give rewards to people that figure out how to break in or whatever that may be.
Yeah, that's a big thing. The hackathons and. Essentially, what those companies are doing is what TechGuard
kind of does.
Does. So for the pen test, is really a great way to. It's essentially we're gonna take an approach as if we were a hacker and try to get into your organization, see what we can find, put all of that into a report, and then go through that with you and truly make sure that you understand, what you need to fix. We've got the steps for remediation, all of that. Everything we do is totally educational. Sometimes it can get to the point, it can get kind of to a fine line. Let's say you've got somebody that's supposed to be managing the network, and then we go in and do a pen test or something and find issues. That can kind of be awkward sometimes to come in and say, hey, this is your job, but we found issues.
We run into that same thing.
Yeah, everything's educational.
People have someone that manages their website, and then we're like, there's some problems here.
Yeah.
This just happened not that long ago. We were doing a sales call, and they wanted us to just update their website, and I'm like, your website needs overhauled. You know what I mean? And I'm just straightforward because I don't want to do marketing for a company and then them not get the results they expect because their website over here is failing them essentially.
Exactly.
So it was a tough call to try to balance and walk that line, because this one guy I could tell you're trying to talk to him and explain where you're coming from, but he's built this whole thing, but he's did it 20 years ago or whatever, 10 years ago, and it's things change fast, man.
So, especially in the tech space, and I mean it's really just that's one thing I like about the cyberspace and the tech space, just from a personal level. It's just it's always new. There's always new attacks coming out, if you will. There's constantly different methods and
challenges to overcome.
Exactly. And it's just look at the. Just 10 years ago, the phishing emails were brutal, like we were talking. And now look at how complex they're getting. Now it's even getting to the point of deep fakes. That's a whole nother level of scariness.
Deep fake. Yeah, that shit's crazy too.
There was a company in Hong Kong. The guy transferred equivalent of US dollars, $25 million out of the company's accounts, 15 transactions, totaling $25 million sent out because he was on a Teams call that was not actually the CFO, transferred it out.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
And that just looked like him? Or
so in the video, they're able to take audio clips. They can record audio clips. They get your voice, the sound bites, everything, and they can script all of that.
And they're like, I'm going to need you to transfer this money. You think there'd have to be some steps to transfer that much money? Jesus.
And so that's one thing, that another thing TechGuard works with is policies and procedures, that type of thing, safeguarding that type of material, making sure there are steps in place to prevent that, right? I don't think anybody should be able to have that power there should at least be multiple people have to sign
signing
off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So
Couldn't find that then? God, I don't remember what the guy's name was.
it was like a 60 Minutes thing or no?
Oh no, I don't think. I swear it was on Netflix, but it was just an old cyber whatever. He used to do. I think he started off doing phone calls, if I remember correctly. I think he used to do phone calls, and then started doing the emails. Yeah, I don't remember his name, but it was interesting just hearing how he did it and what he did, and but he would always say the same thing. Mostly like older people go after because they're not as up with technology. They're usually
and they're
easier and trusting.
Yeah, and that's playing on the human emotion is huge. I mean, people in nature are trusting. So I mean, I think it's like 93 or 95% of cyber attacks are caused because of human error in some shape or form.
Sounds about right.
So that's why we really push the training and phishing side of things, because it's educating people on how to prevent that.
Yeah. Yeah, most people probably don't know where to go for stuff like that, how to learn it.
No. So
I mean, even just tech support.
Yeah.
I feel like people always are asking me like, "Oh, who does your tech support?" And I'm like, "Well, fuck, unfortunately, I do." But and it's like, you want to help people, but I'm like, yeah, we don't offer that. We got to stay in our lane. It's just too much to get into other things. But it's good to know a little, though.
Yeah. There's definitely, there's a lot of options for like small to medium-sized businesses. Like yourself dealing with. You take on a million different things in a day. Adding on IT to yours is just a whole nother thing. So that's where we find a lot of times the cybersecurity kind of gets dropped.
Same thing,
so that's kind of where we come in. We can.
Yeah, you get your network set up, you get your computer set up, but then you aren't proactive on. Dude, a place I used to work at got I don't know what happened, cyber attack, whatever, and they're basically trying to hold all their stuff hostage
right now.
No, this was a place I used to work at.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the FBI came and everything. It was a big ordeal. I was like, oh shit, this guy's serious.
Yeah,
There's like 2 or 3 FBI guys in there, and I don't remember what ended up happening exactly. I don't remember if they got it back or not, but
yeah. So that would be called ransomware.
Yeah.
So essentially, they're going to go in, hack you, and get all the information they can. Gather all of that and then encrypt it, take it all, and then whatever form of communication they're going to let you know that you've been.
Yeah, we need some Bitcoin.
That you've been breached there, and then that's kind of a real hot topic right now. Really across a lot of different levels right now is whether or not to pay that ransom. A lot of people are saying that that's driving the cyber criminals to keep up the activity, and then there's also look at it from the other side where it's like, well, hey, this is my business. I got to get that. I got to get that back and get my doors back open so I can keep bringing in money. But then at the same time, if you're walking down the street and the guy jumps you and takes your wallet and phone and says, all right, $100 and I'll give it back to you.
Right.
I mean, I'm not going to trust that guy. He just jumps me in the first place. Right. So,
like, how do we do this?
Yeah. And so what they'll do is they'll sell you an decryption key that you hope is going to allow you to get access back to all of your files and stuff, but there's stories of that not happening. And I mean, all they want, all these cyber criminals and cyber criminal organizations, they just want crypto because as soon as it's there, it's gone.
Yeah,
there's no tracking it, and it's tough. So
good and bad, that's for sure.
Yeah.
No, we also get a lot, like our clients and even us will get letters for like your domain. It's like renew your domain. And I'm like, motherfucker, I host my domain. What are you talking about? Yeah. So like clients will reach out and they're like, hey, we got this letter. And I'm like, no, throw it away. Like it's not from us. You know what I mean? It's like, secure your domain for this much money or whatever, and it's like in small little writing somewhere that it's like, this is not a bill, so they can't be sued or whatever. But it's like, it should be illegal to even send something that even partially resembles a bill.
I totally agree.
It's craziness. Because again, I guarantee you there's plenty of business owners out there like, oh, got to renew this and send it off.
Oh yeah,
$150 or whatever it is.
Yeah, it's I don't know. It's kind of scary. Always just how the methods are always changing. It's always something new. It seems like.
Yeah.
So.
How about like AI? How is that like affecting your guys' business? Is there anything that's making it better or harder?
Yeah. So it's as with anything, there's good uses and there's bad uses. There's we're using it in the new partnership. We've got Coro, which is the modular cybersecurity. Really excited about that. We can dive into that later. But so that's using AI and machine learning. AI's been around for a long time. I think is kind of a big misconception right now.
Yeah.
I think
everybody
a lot of people think
everybody's
freaking out about AI
like,
right now
your
because of ChatGPT. I feel like
they try to call everything AI.
Yeah,
it's like, your computer does something. I'm like, the computer's supposed to do that. Why is it AI now?
Yeah, exactly. Why are we glorifying Clippy, right?
Yeah.
So it's got its pros and cons like anything. It's got its good uses and bad uses. On the bad side of things, cyber criminals can use it too. So when instead of getting those broken English text messages, you're getting good English, properly formed sentences, things like that. There's also, I've seen some different things where they're able to use it to kind of, I guess, just kind of accelerate bad coding and different things like that. I think with the good side of things, though, also there's also a lot of good AI learning and simplifying, and I think a lot of people with AI think it's taking jobs. I think it's, maybe there might be a few jobs that are not, I wouldn't say replaced, but I do think there's going to be a lot of assistance from AI just in terms of efficiency in companies. And a business owner, efficiency is that's what you like to hear, right? So
it's one of those things where it's like, it probably is taking some jobs, but more so I would think the way it's mostly taking jobs is by allowing an individual to do more in a given set of time, and therefore not having to have, it probably saves, one person might be able to be doing the work of two people if it's if it's helping them be that more efficient, depending on what the application use is. It's interesting. It's a weird thing that came out fast. I feel like it just came out. Obviously they've been working on it for a long time, but it was never a hot topic until just like all of a sudden it's like, oh, ChatGPT, and all of a sudden everything's fucking AI.
Yeah, there's so many. I know with like ChatGPT, like there's I see a lot of people. And I think it's so easy to tell when somebody puts something in a ChatGPT and it's created. I think it's just easy to tell. People don't talk like that. I don't think you're ever gonna be able to replicate human emotion, human connection. I think that's always, not to get like Star Trek on you,
right.
but it's always gonna be. I think there's always gonna have to be that human connection. But
it's interesting. I know I always put like if I'm right, but if you tell, it's kind of crazy. Have you ever done it and like been like, create a joke in the style of like a comedian or something, and it will kind of make it, you know what I mean, in that style. Same with like artwork, if
I've
you
seen
go
those, the pictures and
if you
stuff
go
are
say
wild.
like create an artwork in the style of Andy Warhol, you know what I mean, it's kind of interesting. So I don't know where that goes as far as mimicking styles.
That's like, I feel like part of the reason I haven't really followed it all that much, but with the writer's strike and everything.
Oh yeah.
All of that.
They were freaking out over that stuff.
Yeah. There was the Lincoln Museum hosted a thing where they had a few Lincoln historians there on a panel, and the guy was typing the questions into ChatGPT and had the historians reviewing the questions, and sometimes it was correct.
That's interesting.
There's always like different.
Were you watching? You were there? You were watching?
Yeah. It was really cool. It was really interesting. But there was definitely, for example, one thing was they asked him, what was Abraham Lincoln doing? It I forget the date that he died, April 19th or something around there. But it was like, what was Abraham Lincoln doing 5 days after that? And ChatGPT said that he was carrying out his presidential duty in Washington, D.C. Well, we know he wasn't doing that. So it's just things like that. There's also a lot of like human interpretation. For example, the one question they asked, they opened it up to the crowd. They asked historical questions and things like that, factual things. Sometimes it would, because it's just pulling sources from online.
Right.
They would ask, was Abraham Lincoln, how close was he with this person, or was he friends with this person? And sometimes it would kind of provide iffy answers.
Yeah.
I think one thing that was interesting was, and it, like I said, with the human approach and everything like that, was they were asking kind of how that looks for historians in the future, right? I mean, historians are doing so much research.
Well, just people.
Yeah.
I mean, you think about everything is mostly digital nowadays, and that can all be changed at any time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Who wants to rewrite? It's history.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They could rewrite whatever they want. It's like in school. They're like taking books out of school. You know what I mean? And doing different things. And it's kind of a scary thing where they can just, take away history or change it to what they want or make it seem. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I don't even have a good example, but there's like plenty of people in our history that have done some bad things, but a lot of good things, and should still be recognized for those good things because they've changed the way we live or our history or whatever. But then they like change all the focus to these like one or two bad things and want to tear down statues and do this or that. And it's like, it's still our history. Like that's, maybe those bad, like slavery, like terrible thing. Nobody should ever have been slaves, but at the time it was a normal thing. You know what I mean? So it's like, I don't know. It's just weird, to think, try to think, put yourself in their shoes and like, it's weird. But as far as today, like just being able to rewrite that, and not know the difference, and kids in the future not know, and
exactly.
It's weird way change things.
Well, and I mean, how many kids are using it? How many kids are using ChatGPT for papers, for writing papers? And one thing from a security perspective is, think about like if you're a bank or something like that, and you're, assessing a customer and they're running their finances, people will put that in a ChatGPT. Well, those numbers are going that's going somewhere.
Data,
what you're entering.
Stored somewhere,
So you got to be careful of what your, sensitive information you're putting in there, because to some extent that's being stored somewhere.
Yeah, I know, that's creepy.
So yeah. I mean, how is
same with
AI and
same with Google? Same with you have Google Docs.
Yep.
And Google, you know what I mean, and your notes on your phone. It's all freaking out there. It's it's all secure, but AI in our business, I don't know. It's interesting. I kind of use it as, I'm a big like bounce ideas off people guy. Like I like to talk about something, to hear what somebody says, or to try to hear like an opposing opinion, or because I like to think things through as much as possible to make sure I'm either making the right decision or have thought of everything. I'd probably overthink on stuff. So a lot of times I'll utilize it as like back and forth. Like I'll say something and it'll like give me a, like a breakdown of it. And then I'll be like, you know what I mean? And just kind of hone through things and get thoughts from it. Then I can then kind of think through myself and change or whatever that may be. Past that, we have plenty of clients that do things that obviously we're not experts in. You know what I mean? We're not experts in a lot of different industries, and it would take years to become experts in those. So utilizing it for help in post copy or blog posts or stuff like that is very interesting and helpful. Because before we might have to go research a bunch of stuff, and and now you can kind of run it through there a little bit, and it's gonna, it's probably not always perfect, obviously, but we at least have a base to then get it, make some changes to and get approved by the client, on whatever that may be.
Yeah.
The other thing that's kind of interesting is, sometimes when doing design work, I don't know if my team does this at all, but I know myself, if say someone wants to do a logo design, and I'm trying to think it through, and what that looks like. Anytime we're doing marketing for a client or a design or anything like that, I always want to see like, well, what are competitors doing? Let's compare to what competitors are doing here or here, and how can we either do that better or do something completely different because they're doing it wrong. Well, with design, it's kind of the same thing. Like, okay, you want a logo for a tech, a cybersecurity. Well, maybe you go search for like cybersecurity logo. And just see what some people's logos look like. Like, what are they doing? What are they doing? Does this seem right? Does that seem right? And a lot of times I'll, get inspiration from other people's artwork, essentially.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll do stuff like that. Like, I'll type it into like an image generator. Like, I don't know, just to try to get my mind flowing, get ideas flowing. Obviously, I never want to use something that I did not create. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But again, it's just helping with those ideas, getting stuff flowing, and it's more like you don't have to sit and scour the internet. You know what I mean? It saves you time as far as kind of bouncing ideas off someone, I guess. Or if you're alone. Yeah. If I'm trying to do that and I'm alone in my basement working, like, you know what I mean? I can sit there and bounce ideas. Yeah. So it's very interesting in that aspect for us.
Definitely. Interesting.
But there are websites that are like, use AI to generate your content.
See, I feel like I've seen those ads and stuff on social media
and you go and look, and I've like seriously researched them, and I'm like, well, shit, if we can create 100 pieces of content, but it's funny because it's not, we talk about using AI too much. It's not AI. It's literally just a bunch of templates. They just have a shitload of templates, and then when you plug in your picture and your wording, they just go and plug them into all the templates. You know what I mean? It's not AI at all.
It's just plug and play.
Yeah, it's like, use AI to generate these templates, and then it tells you which one does best. And I'm like, well, obviously you just have like 2 templates that do the best, and then it's
just called intelligence.
Yeah. So but I mean, you definitely got to keep your finger on the pulse. Pay attention to what the hell's happening with it, because things are changing quick.
Yeah. I mean, I forget. I think it was like a Joe Rogan podcast or something where he's interviewing Elon Musk, and Elon was saying that he had tried to meet with Obama a while ago and tell him, talk about just to contain it and put the laws and stuff in place. Before. I mean, look at now at social media and everything that's totally changed. Since we were growing up, I mean, it's crazy how much, just how involved everybody's life is everywhere now.
Yeah, it's tough, man. And it doesn't help. Like, it's very hard for our government and people in power to be proactive on any technology. Yeah. They just don't understand it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It happens so fast, and then it's out there, and there's 20 different companies that have all of a sudden developed this crazy ass thing that it's like, oh shit, now what do we do? And now all these companies have billions of dollars, so you know what I mean? It's too late to do anything too crazy, because they just fight you on everything and lobby. And I mean, we are a social media marketing company essentially, and I strongly believe that kids shouldn't be on social media until they're 18.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a bad thing for my business, because if you have something you're trying to sell young kids, you want to target them. But I just, for the pure good of humanity and kids' mental stability and school and the bullying and all that stuff, I just don't think that they should be on social media until they're out of school.
Yeah. I mean, even just like the mental health of it. I mean,
yeah, that's what I mean.
It's insane. Just it went from, think about like being, I used to be, not saying I would be, just saying, you used to be the best, football player in your school, that's all you knew because that's who you played against, right? But now you're getting compared against, everybody and everything.
Yeah.
It's
Looks and
it's
everything.
the looks, what car you driving, who you hanging out with, where you going to dinner, who where are you vacationing. Everything is just So I totally agree with you on
highlight
that.
reel.
Exactly. And that's people don't. I mean, people only post the cute pictures of their babies. They don't post the the video or the videos of the kid crying for all that stuff. Yeah.
What was that movie a while back? That special, social. What was that? It was on Netflix. Social Dilemma. Yeah. Social Dilemma. You ever see that?
Oh, the one where where it deep dove into like Facebook.
Yeah,
and all that.
You ever see it? That was crazy.
Yeah.
Super crazy. And I interviewed all those kids that are like, your popularity is basically based off of how many likes you get. And I was like, whoa, that's nuts. And just to hear it from, the horse's mouth, essentially, the kid's mouth. But also, like, they would say, like, if you post something, and it doesn't get 100 likes in 30 minutes, you take it down immediately. You know what I mean? It's like, holy shit, they're monitoring that closely. It's like, what are we doing here, guys?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like it's really insane. It's kind of sad. I mean, just go, I don't have kids, but you go in public or anything, and it's, kids are either filming TikTok dances or or whatever. It's just
and it's so tough because, like, obviously I think about, like, my business, and I don't really want my kids to be on social media until they're older. And will that happen? I don't know. I'll fight that battle when it gets there. But but then you have, like, same with technology in general. Like, my kids pretty much never play on iPads or phones. Very rarely, a little bit. Steve Jobs never even let his kids on an iPad or iPhone.
Yep.
He didn't even let them use them. But then you're like, am I doing a disservice to my children? Know what I mean? For what they could learn, and are they going to be behind other people? I don't know the answer to that. I feel like it's pretty quick to pick up, but especially if they start, even if they waited till they were 18, you're still learning fast at that age. So, I don't know.
Yeah, well, I think there's good use and bad use, like we were talking earlier.
For sure.
I think it's using it for school purposes, typing papers, research, things like that is great. I just think it really comes down to the social media and the just the social media. I mean, I think kids should be making friends in person. Playing sports, playing outside.
And the argument is too, though, like, if you're helping, I don't know, if you're, like, as a parent, if you're helping your kid be confident and that stuff like that, like, does it matter? I don't know. Is it not as much social media's fault, but more like how the parents are letting them use it, or the balance there, or whatever. Yeah. Like, I always had this idea that, my kids, if they were going to spend like an hour on whatever, YouTube or a phone or something when they're older, that they had to spend 2 hours creating. You know what I mean? It's kind of weird. Like, sometimes I think about life, and you're either the observer or the creator. Yeah. Like, are you just going to sit there and watch the stuff, or are you going to go create and get it? Like, be the...
And do it.
Yeah. It's kind of like, like, I don't know. It's just, I've kind of always thought about things a little bit like that,
know? I mean, I know for, like, me, at least growing up, it was, the equivalent was, that was like right when PlayStation 1, was coming out. So playing video games, I mean, I remember you play 30 minutes and it was like, all right, go outside and shoot some hoops, or go outside and throw the baseball, or go outside and do something. So I think that's just the balance, I think, is important. And like you said, I mean, you don't want your kid to be at a disadvantage.
Right.
That's obviously, nobody wants that.
No.
But then I think another thing too to be aware of is just security of your kids and what they're doing.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, you talk about, for sure. Especially with all the trafficking and shit that goes on, and kids getting tricked into sending like nude photos and
romance scams are. I mean, it's interesting. The romance scams have. It's the older generation still is a heavy target, but it's kind of seems like it's almost not missed art. You know, the middle-aged generation, whatever, but. It's definitely now the younger kids. You're seeing a lot of kids being, unfortunately exploited and stuff, and so it's
or just other kids.
Yeah.
Send me a naked picture. You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, some boy has a naked picture of your daughter, and he's fucking sharing it with the whole school.
Yeah, there's a lot of
like that. Could you imagine? Like if you were a girl and like nowadays, with like. Just be bonkers.
Yeah,
I remember.
I feel bad for the kids.
Oh my God.
Nowadays, really think about what they're just the pressure almost. I don't know. I mean, every day you're seeing the kids you're going to school with. They're posting, "Oh, this weekend I was in Chicago, shopping on Michigan Avenue. Here's my new." Whatever brand thing, and then it's like, okay, well,
that I returned a little bit later.
and then I took the picture of and put back on the rack. It's I don't know. It's a fine line. I just hope parents understand what their kids are, doing or have it even though like I think some people think that this video game is rated E, let's say, or something. It's a kid's game.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean that the communication and conversation on that game, from the external sources being online is going to be E-rated. So just being aware of what your kids are doing.
I always loved the game Tomb Raider as a kid. And have you seen the preview for the new Tomb Raider game? It is ridiculous.
Really?
Dude, she is basically naked. Like, it is crazy. Ridiculous. Yeah. I mean, it got pretty bad near the end, but it is crazy what it looks like.
When's that supposed to come out?
I don't know. I always loved that game just because it was fun. You know what I mean? You were like a chick with two double guns. You know what I mean? And it was always cool. And she was always hot, but like it wasn't like she wasn't like naked running around. Like it's crazy looking what it looks like now. I was like, oh my God. Yeah. Basically in underwear and like a ripped top. But but exactly. In TV shows and
yeah. It's
how about like, do you guys do anything with like home, individual, or just businesses?
Yeah, so we're just business to business.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah, we just do business to business. It's kind of a whole nother. The consumer.
It's probably more of a pain in the ass.
Trust me, we get a lot of calls of random people being a TechGuard Security, being our company. I mean. We get some pretty bizarre calls of people wanting random forms of security. But it's cybersecurity for business to business. Yeah. I personally try to do a lot of promote a lot of like educational resources and stuff like that for the public. Like I'm giving a speech in April at the Chatham Public Library just to on social media best practices, like we were saying, for the older people. And I mean, dude, I get on, I'll scroll through Facebook and it's like, I feel like every other post is a scam or it's.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
dude, I'm so smart with that stuff. And I got gotten by a thing that was a website.
Really?
And I honestly knew. I was like on there. I was like, man, I really want this. They were selling, I don't remember what it was, but they were selling something.
Yeah.
And I was like, I really want this thing. And I'm like looking on the website and I'm like, God damn it, this website seems kind of bogus. And I was like, I think I'm just going to do it. So I like generated, like with my credit card, you can generate like a digital number. It's kind of like you're generating a separate credit card.
Yeah.
So I did that and then bought the thing and then it never came. And so I like charged it back, or whatever. But it was one of those things that I was like, I feel like this is probably not good or a scam, but I really want this thing. It was a good price. And that's against my better judgment.
Yeah. There's a lot on Facebook. I see a lot and a lot of it's just they're just trying to gather contacts. Really.
Well, you can launch a site in like less than a day.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if it's super basic and you just want to put a couple things on there, act like you're selling, these little trinkets or whatever, and then launch the site. People get on there, buy. You just run a bunch of ads, and for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Take in probably a few $1,000s and then don't send any of it out.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
And what's crazy is Facebook really doesn't, or Meta, whatever it's called now, they don't really offer a whole lot of support. Like, and when an instance like that, when you do get, if your account gets hacked or things like that, and that's.
Dude, we have so many people that are like, they want us to help them get their business account back.
Oh yeah, yeah, they're tough. I mean, you can't do anything with it.
Well,
really.
And the hard part is, like, we had one client that hired us to do it, and they wanted to do some advertising and marketing and stuff, and so I was like, all right, here's the cost. I'll help you try to get it back. And you tell them from the beginning, like, there's no guarantee here.
Mm-hmm.
But I tried, and I went way above and beyond, like, multiple times trying to reach out, submit paperwork. And we, as a partner, a Meta, I don't remember what they call it now, but we're like basically a marketing partner or whatever, because we do so much business on there. We get a little bit better access for help. Okay. Like, we have specific, people we can reach out to and stuff. Our specific kind of portal, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. So there is times that we have helped people get their pages back, but this particular case didn't work out for whatever reason, and was just a pain in the butt. It was more, I think it was more the timing, because Facebook was going through a bunch of changes, but and I don't know for sure, but I think the client was probably left us, sour taste in their mouth, and we haven't done any marketing for them. Yeah. But I'm like, it wasn't my fault, man. I fucking tried it. And I should have just been like, let's just start a new Facebook page. Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like, the time we're going to spend, the money, the whatever, it's like, but it's always tough. You want to be there and do everything you can for somebody, but you know what I mean? Sometimes it's not worth it. Yeah. And especially, I mean, when you're dealing with a company like Facebook or Meta, I mean, even, you said you've got that, the portal or anything there, but it's still like, I mean, they're so big that they're you can submit, it's weird. So, like, I've submitted for a page paperwork, got the page back. For another person, exact same scenario, exact same issue, submitted all the same paperwork, never didn't work out for whatever. I'm like, what's the deal? And they're like, oh, we just can't do it for this. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, well, fuck me then. Yeah. You know what I mean? And it's like, it's so weird. And it's like, it's literally the exact same situations, but for some reason here, they don't agree with it.
Yeah. Interesting.
It's frustrating.
Yeah.
So don't get your page scammed by a phishing, swishing, kishing.
Yeah. No, that's a real, I think a lot of people, especially for like the small businesses and stuff like that for their accounts. I mean, having, I see a lot of small businesses, whether it's restaurants, like a clothing boutique store, whatever it is, posting constantly on Facebook. Like, that's how they get their information out there. Making sure you have a strong password, making sure that's a long password, is going to go a long way for those businesses and making sure their platform doesn't get. Because, I know a lot of organizations that, given Facebook's free, they can do a lot of business, or they can do a lot of free marketing, on Facebook themselves. So if they lose that, that's tough. And I mean, especially
if you've spent years building a page.
Oh yeah, I mean, the thousands of followers that you've gotten and all of that down the drain is tough.
Super tough. Yeah. Well, and we've actually saved people before, because so this is like a weird bonus that we don't like promote, but like I've been the admin on people's page before, and their business page and their personal page has either gotten shut down or hacked. Yep. And where they would have lost their business and access to their business, they didn't, because
you were the admin.
We were admins also.
Yeah. That's a big thing.
Which is interesting.
Yeah, is keeping those separate. That's a huge risk. There's a few, I forget, I think it was the Red Cross a few years back. the girl who ran their Twitter thought she was on her personal Twitter and started tweeting a bunch of stuff, but it came from like the Australian Red Cross.
Yeah, Jesus.
So stuff like that. But it's perfect example though, if they can get access to your, to your personal page, and then they can get over to your
scary
business page, it's not good.
No, not at all. What are your thoughts on these? Like, you know how on like Google, when you type in a password, it's like, do you want to save your password? What are your guys' recommendations to people on stuff like that? Anything specific or?
So that I'm a big fan, and I mean, I think if you talk to anybody that is in the cyberspace or IT space, is going to tell you to do multi-factor authentication. That's where you go in, you enter your password, and then either kind of can look at a few different ways. If you can get a voice call that says, hey, enter this code. You can get a text message with a code. You can get an email with a code. Whatever that looks like. That just adds an extra layer. I know personally, on a social media account that I have on my Facebook, actually received a email saying, "Hey, is this you logging in?" And it wasn't me.
Is this you trying to reset your password?
Yep, exactly.
That's happened to me several times. I'm like, who the fuck's trying to?
Yeah. So that's a real common thing there. So I recommend doing that. But in terms of saving your passwords, it's generally, you're putting your trust in that company. Best practice would be to not do that.
Yeah.
I do know it's simple
so hard
to do that.
Oh my God,
I know.
There's so many friggin' passwords nowadays.
Yeah. I will say one thing. This is probably going to go against the grain a little bit for what a cybersecurity professional would say, but in all reality, if you think about your passwords and all of that, a lot of people, they get too complex for people to remember. You forget what you did there.
Mm-hmm.
Think about it realistically. What are the odds that somebody's going to break into your house, go to your computer, pull out, and find it in your desk drawer, find the note card that you've gotten your passwords written down on? Realistically, what are the odds?
House, yeah.
I know there's password managers out there like LastPass and things like that. That's a gold mine for hackers.
Mm-hmm.
They get hacked all the time.
Yeah.
Because they've got all the passwords, So I believe having a long, upper and lowercase special character number, using a phrase.
Mm-hmm.
And if you need to, I would recommend writing them down. Just being totally realistic.
Yeah, someone I know would write them down and carry this like notebook around, like a physical notebook. I'm like, what if you lose that notebook? You just got all your friggin' passwords in there. What the hell, man?
There's a funny post I see. It's an IT guy put it on his door, and it's got a kind of a table, and it says, we're resetting your passwords. Please write your password here and what you'd like it reset to.
Nice.
And there's like 5 or 6 people that wrote their old password with their new password, and just below it says, "Just come see me now."
Yeah, it's a little test messing with people.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
So,
all right, Nick, man. Well, what's the best way a business could reach out to you?
Yeah. So I'm on LinkedIn, Nicholas Koch. Email Nicholas, nicholas.koch@techguardsecurity.com. I'm on Facebook as well. So check out our website, techguardsecurity.com. Really take a look into our history, who we're doing work for. There's
do you guys have like a slogan?
So I use personally, I like using the locally trusted, globally proven, just because with the work we're doing, we're working with organizations of all sizes all across the world. Yeah. So we're able to bring what we're able to see, from my largest clients, 35,000 employees in India. I actually met with them this morning at 6 a.m.
Nice.
So having them, seeing the attacks and everything that they're going through, and that experience, gathering that, taking what we're seeing there and taking what we're seeing on the government side of things and kind of combining those together.
Yeah.
Taking that and then really bringing that to our local.
Yeah. So you guys can bring
24
large companies cybersecurity to small businesses.
Yep. That's affordable. We make it, my whole goal is to make small businesses aware that cybersecurity is affordable, it's doable, and we're here to help do that. I genuinely my father was a small business owner. So
be proactive, not reactive.
Exactly. Exactly. So,
that's what was in my head. Something like about proactive instead of reactive. Like that's what I was curious if you guys had a slogan or something.
Yep. Yeah. Locally trusted, globally proven. Is I would say is our slogan for. That's at least what I'm using now.
Yeah, I like that.
So, yeah, I know we're with this new partnership with Coro. We're starting to kind of announce the TechGuard Continuum. Is really kind of our all encompassing approach. Like I said earlier, we can any cybersecurity needs. If we're not able to do it, we have a lot of partnerships, whether that's local, across the country, across the world, that we're more than happy to make connections. And quite frankly, I love making those connections. If I can help, this company, if I can't help them directly, but I know somebody that can, being able to make that connection is what I like.
So for you, like you say, you have a client in India or whatever. Mm-hmm. Do you have like an area or no?
The whole world.
Yeah. I just wasn't sure how that. So do things just kind of get divvied up to you depending on when they come in and who's?
Yeah. So we've got a kind of a rotation, if you will.
Yeah.
That goes through, and then me personally, I'm really trying to make a big push here on the local scene.
Yeah.
There. So and I think one thing that's nice is about our services that we can work directly with the small businesses now through this offering, or we partner with a lot of managed service providers. So just because you're a small business and you're working with a managed service provider, let's still have that conversation because we do partner with a lot of managed service providers.
Mm-hmm.
And for them, they're able to provide that third party, hey, we are doing this. Look, TechGuard did this test on us and this is what they found.
Yeah.
Versus, grading their own homework, if you will.
Yeah.
So.
Awesome, man.
Definitely.
Well, we got you coming to the SILSA event at the end of the month?
Of course, wouldn't miss it.
Nice.
Yeah, TechGuard's doing one of the giveaway baskets.
Are you?
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep. So looking forward to that.
And it sounds like we're going to host a local first event here.
Oh, very nice.
In April.
Very nice. Excited for that.
Yeah. So.
Very nice.
Awesome. Trying to think of like something to put together for like informational for people in the morning, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That people would be interested in.
Yeah.
Like some of the local businesses. So
yeah, something
based around social media would come up with something to help everybody out.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Like I said, I think a lot of people small businesses and local businesses are using Facebook and social media, and so all for that.
Yeah. So we'll figure out something good.
Yeah.
All right, Nick. Well, Thanks for coming on today. Everybody, be proactive. Don't be reactive with your cybersecurity.
You got it.
I'd be interested to hear if anybody has made it to this point. Drop below some of your nightmare stories.
Let's hear them. I could talk for
of
days
cybersecurity nightmare stories.
Yeah. Let's prevent those.
Yeah. All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on.
All right. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Yep.